Herald there. But we'll never know. See what these bans end up being on blue side if we see similar. Yeah, good to see the Aurelia ban. So we're already changing things up pretty massively.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, in a best of 5, this is what you got to do. Take away the Aurelia, take away the Diana. Just don't allow them to play what they've been having success on so far at
Diana gone.
A couple of games in a row. So Nongshim as well need to show something different.
Yeah, completely. It's like bans Kennen. I'm like, well, okay. You could ban Aphelios here. Wouldn't actually hate it, to be honest. If you're gonna, you know, take a strong blue side pick, that's another option. They will take away Rich's Jace instead, though. I think this has to be a Xin Zhao ban from Nongshim. Just do not want to give that one over to Dread with the removal of the Diana. Renekton, something that Keen could play, though, alternatively, if you did do that. And they're going to say, you can take the Renekton or the Xin Zhao, we get the other one.
Or the Lucian.
Lucian also an opportunity, but could pick the Ryze into it afterwards.
Yeah. This Renekton feels good. The Ryze would feel good, but they will go for the Renekton.
A lot on the line with this Renekton pick has been very sink or swim. You can see it's below a 50% win rate despite its priority. Its ban rate is very high. The Nidalee for Peanut will be the denial pick, and I actually really like this. I'll take the Aphelios too. You won't necessarily need to take the Lucian or the Ryze here because you still have that third slot on red side to pick that one up, the opposing one.
Yeah. This is a really awesome response to Renekton first pick.
Yeah.
Especially because it's denial, as you mentioned, but also it's comfort for Peanut, and obviously comfort for Duckdom. Now, I do like responses like Syndra into stuff like this.
Yeah. Syndra is very strong with Renekton in terms of team fighting later on. Renekton helps you set up and get into position to hit those Scatter of the Weeks. This is partially why, this Aphelios pick is partially why I would have liked to see that one banned instead of the Jace when you're not necessarily playing into a bad matchup for the Jace. It is a very strong pick right now, even blind in the LCK, but still really preferring Nongshim's side of the draft so far. I'm going to go ahead and take the Leona here. There's another strong pick that you can do very blind. It's totally fine. There's no counters per se. It's the strongest blind pick support right now in this meta.
You are leaving Aphelios Thresh.
That's true.
And, I mean, it is Duckdom and Kellen.
Yeah.
So, yes, you do get a lot of powerful picks, but even through the banning phase and the first phase of picks, you ended up giving Duckdom and Kellen probably the strongest bottom lane right now.
Not to mention
their most favorite and most comfortable duo.
Not to mention that Peanut's Nidalee has been LCK's strongest this season.
By far.
By like a mile. Like, this is the pick that you think of. I mean, you think of it as Diana a lot, but this is the really big standout pick. He's playing more than anyone else. That's part of why he's MVP for regular season. You get to now ban away the Xin Zhao. This draft is falling apart real quick here for Afrika. If you banned either the Aphelios or the Thresh, you would have had a lot better of a time here. If you took the Thresh yourself as Afrika instead of Leona, doesn't feel as strong because they can actually ban away the Jinx, for example. So it's not a great start here, unfortunately, for Afrika just yet in this draft, as we'll see Lucian taken away. Might see the full up here on another jungle ban towards Dread at the moment. Could also look towards the AD carry position since you've got that one all locked up. Something like Kalista.
Oh.
Okay.
I actually do like that. Zach, definitely a champion that while you can get flayed out of his elastic slingshot, if you do get into the back line, even if you do get flayed, you just flash on in and you force hard engage alongside of Leona and all of that follow-up from what you already have.
Yeah.
I really like that ban.
That's actually a really nice ban because all three champions can set up for follow-up there when you have the elastic slingshot. LeBlanc denied from Gory here. That's a really terrifying champion to lane against as Syndra when you have a Nidalee on the other side, because if you end up getting caught by the chains and Nidalee is nearby, you are just dead in every scenario. She's already got the burst damage. She's not going to last very long in that scenario at all. It's also one of Gory's most played and most successful this season. And once again, McKinnon comes through here.
It almost looked like there was a little bit of an argument going on, at least a discussion between Rich and Gory about what was going to be picked there. Very curious if I could hear what they were talking about, but unfortunately, That will be denied from us.
This will leave mid for the counter pick.
Yeah.
And I think another option here could have been to go into something like the Ornn, since Leona's already locked in. And you're not going to deal with Silas. Would have been a really nice option to shore up some of the front line, as we will see Viego once again coming through here. And this will very likely be played by Dread, considering the Renekton's already on the board with the Syndra. There's not really any way this gets flexed away. And so you have this strong, empowering jungle pick. Regardless of mid matchup, you can threaten it. Syndra Viego, very strong combo. Also great with Renekton.
Wait.
Okay.
Well, hold the phone, okay? Who's playing AD carry?
Yeah. Is this not
So-
a bug, right? Okay, no. Well,
Which one of
okay.
these dudes is awesome,
Well,
okay?
Syndra is awesome in this case.
Yeah.
So Syndra, we've seen this a lot. It was started actually in North America in the LCS. The set will be the final pick.
I love it.
I think the Evil Genius is the first team to play this one, and then we saw it here in the LCK. It's been played in pretty much every region now, but it's very strong. You can really, with the Leona Syndra, you have so much lockdown, you have so much power, you can be oppressive on the bottom side of the map, get a lot of extra farm as the Syndra.
It's just not something I ever thought Leo would play. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, which AD carry? I'm like, oh, are they going to go for the Callista here? What are we doing? And then it's Sejuani, and it just brings me back to old, of course, Damwon days where they picked support Sejuani. But yes, Syndra will be played here by Leo.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to be such an important game for him, such an important moment in his career where you're on match point, your opponent is on match point. You botch this one, you mess this one up, that's it. No playoffs, no Worlds Gauntlet, you're going home, that's the end of the year, see you in 2022. It's a big call to make of the draft that's already fairly aggressive and difficult to play around this Renekton priority. You look at what is going on here on the other side of the Rift, and you've got Peanut on his best champion, best Nidalee player this season. He's got insane setup there between the Kennen and the Set, which was also where Gory made his start this season. It all comes full circle here. You got a Felios Thresh for Duckdom and Kellen. Like, this is going to be a hard game of Freak of Freaks, but if you win it, you go to match point. Maybe you really get that momentum going. We have one of our sickest playoff series of the year. But it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, and, you know, even if they had randomized the champions on the top side of the map, Duckdom and Kellen on a Felios Thresh could probably find a way to win. And that's not something we can say lightheartedly or about many other, if any other, bottom lane duos. And they essentially gave it over. Afrika are taking a calculated risk here. They say, go ahead, get your most comfortable bottom lane. We'll find a way around it. We'll counter it with the Syndra. We'll try to shut down Duckdom before he gets out of control. And I really want to see if it's going to pay off, this kind of a dice roll. And I like that they do it because this is how you have to play best of fives. If they did the same exact thing and they picked red side and then they like counter-picked GP again, I'm like, yeah, I mean, we liked the idea the first time you did it, but it's not a change. And I think Nongshim have your number if you're going to just do the same thing again.
Yeah, you have to have depth, right, in a best of five. If you want to go to Worlds too, if you want to, you talk about this playoff series and the follow-up playoff series and the competition that is out there internationally, you can't just play this best of five the same way. Whoa, scary potentially there on the bottom side, but it is level 1 Aphelios.
Yeah, and it is Syndra, so.
I'm worried about what happens if this doesn't go well for Leo, because the rest of the game, I think, just really falls apart, you know? I mean, look at these win rates. First of all, okay, that's terrifying. You also have Peanut, who is going to be able to put anyone who isn't Dread or Fly, like if you hit Leo or Keen with a spear, you're going to be at half health before a fight starts, and if Peanut gets ahead, it's just so terrifying, right? And Syndra has to be kind of up in the thick of things to set up for those Scatter the Weeks and look to carry team fights later on. I mean, not to mention they have good engage. Duckdom's Aphelios.
Yeah, you can see already what's happening down there in that bottom lane. It's actually something we discussed before the broadcast even, what Aphelios can do at level 2, even though he doesn't have any abilities, with the pressure from the Thresh as well.
Yeah.
Just push up, zone them off of the wave, and not really allow them to hit level 2 before you, and therefore not have any pressure against you.
It's really handy to have that Calibrum, you know, versus Syndra's Q poke. One of the big changes for Syndra is her mana cost got reduced, as that's pretty fat damage there from Gory. Yeah, the Q reduction means that you can harass a little bit more, but the range that Duck Dom is going to have means you can kind of safely poke that wave out, push it in.
Yeah, good stuff. Eventually, of course, Syndra will get her abilities online. She will have ability to set up plays onto the very squishy AD carry, and that is where the Syndra gets some of her power in this lane, but not yet. Just going to be pushing this one in, will Duck Dom and Kellen. And relatively quiet to start this one off here. Peanut, you know, sometimes he goes for early ganks, but generally not too often. Although he is hanging around this bottom side.
This is where you're going to make the play if you are.
There's
Especially
no
with Kellen's Thresh. Yeah, and he's... Get out of here.
There's the hook.
Oh,
no
that's a big
spear,
one!
though, and the flake comes in, and they already get the flash out of Leo. Another spear comes in. Nice try. And Peanut's not done yet. He flashes in, gets scattered away, and exhausted down, and now he's in the middle of the wave as the Lantern will be enough with the heal. Peanut takes a big risk, but he gets away with it as Kellen will save him.
Well, that's huge that he loses his flash regardless, as Rich will be fine here on the top side of the map. But losing your flash as Peanut here is really massive. Rich has also now used his, so a lot of summoners down here. As Leo, this isn't going to happen probably again for a while.
Oh, they're still here. I mean, look at this. This is what you got to expect. As they're nearly able to kill Lehens under the turret. 2v2.
They force a teleport here from Fly.
They just don't have any follow-up. There's no Leona anymore. Fly's teleport just there to help save them.
And Gory says thank you.
Yeah, just takes more pressure off the mid lane for Gory.
This is a really, really rough start. Because remember, part of the reason why, as you pointed out, the Syndra is picked here is to start to threaten the Aphelios. Be aggressive here. Try to use lane control in your solo lanes to maybe get some big kills on the bottom side, get a fed Syndra, limit Duck Dom's power. But what you've done in this early game is failed to do so, been pressured super hard, and you've lost control of the bottom lane. So in fact, Duck Dom has advantage. He actually has a nice lead. And we've seen what Duck Dom can do in even games, and in the rare cases where he gets a huge snowball-y lead, he might get 2 full plates on 2 turrets. That's what he does on the Aphelios. We're not at that stage just yet, but you've given him a lot more wiggle room in this game, which is, you know, almost disaster levels of a problem when you're running a comp like this. Your whole win condition of the early game has fallen apart.
Oh, stun. There was a ward in that brush, and Rich didn't seem to know. He will be okay, and he does have teleports, so... In fact, it's not going to matter all too much. Just a nice little trade.
Speaking of trades, Fly's not going to be too happy with that one. They're on the bottom side, and that was so close to being amazing too. And Peanut's coming back again. Remember, Leo does not have flash.
Yeah, and Lehens does. And okay, they're just going to trade it there. Duck Dom flashing forward aggressively.
Peanut does not have flash anymore, and the wave blocks him from being able to hit a spear there. So even though Duck Dom flashes forward for the root, it's not enough. This time the hook misses.
Yeah, it's still so much pressure that you have to respect. You can't move up to the wave. You can't clear it.
Yeah, this is going to be enough to maybe group up and look for a Drake fight. He's not going to be able to use this Crescendum to actually grab an extra turret plate, but he can use it to help burst down this Drake. Clear time on that is so fast with Aphelios when he does have the Crescendum available. Cryo here in mid means Fly can't do anything about it either. And even though Dread is over here, I mean, he can look for the steal.
Okay.
Oh, this is really scary.
He looked at the dragon, yeah. Gory is just going to walk away and says, actually, let's engage, but there is a teleport coming in, but the spear is enough. The damage is there. It's first blood, but now Keen is going to go on a bit of a rampage. He's level 6 himself. Rich here as well.
Is it worth it?
The flash away from Fly is not going to get him to safety, and now with the slicing Maelstrom, it's enough damage on the Keen. He can't get anything done, and how about a double kill for Peanut on the Nidalee?
And just like that, this composition falls on its face. Aphelios has 3 assists now. He's going to go back, buy some extra weapons here, and head straight back to lane. 12 CS up right now, but he is going to continue to put that pressure on, as this was just a bridge too far, Dread. yes, you do have the ability to get over the wall, so this is low risk. It's fine to look for maybe a steal here, but you commit and collapse onto Gory here. And he's got Showstopper. You can't do this to a set. No set hasn't been the meta in the mid as these spears thread the needle for Peanut. It's actually crazy what he's able to do with this champion.
Perfect.
And why you don't want to deal with it. And yeah, you pick Renekton as a perfect denial pick. And then they just, stay here way too long. Several kills go over. Peanut gets a double. And you can't feed Peanut this stage of the game. What's he got now? He does not actually have a Dark Seal this time around because he often does buy those, but he's getting up there. He's going to have his Night Harvest very soon.
Bit of a nerf. He's like, yeah, let's skip that one this time.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that item. And he's fine, Duck Dom's level 6, Leo's level 5, and oh boy. Afrika, once again, they say, no, we have to flip it over the Rift Herald. Let's see if it works out. They got a bunch of players here before the fight even begins. Gory's level 8. They're trying to burst him down, but he's got all the grit. And Gory's like, okay, let's go. You want to fight? Let's do it. That Rift Herald, though, is going to go the way of Dread. The hook comes in, and now comes the damage from the side of Nongshim. 2 kills just like that. Kellen will go down, but it's a 3-for-1. Thankfully, Keen gets over and picks up the eye, or that would have been a true disaster as Nongshim once again take a giant leap in the lead.
I think we're still, if I put a graph, if there was a meter, a gauge, I think we're still on true disaster. It might be not at the end of the gauge, when your gas tank is towards full, when it goes past the F when you first fill up. I think we're still full, though. I think the gauge has hit true disaster truly after this fight, because this is now 2-0-4, Italy. 2-0-4 set. Okay, 6 assists to Aphelios. They're thinking they're lucky stars. He didn't pick up any of those kills, but he's still got 6 assists. The shut down the Aphelios plan is not working out so far, and yet again, it's like this team forgot that Set is insanely strong at skirmishes. So many of their cooldowns, so many resources used onto the Set. And then Rich is able to get this perfect angle here too. By the way, he did not have Slicing Maelstrom in this fight. They did not have Showstopper. So from Afrika's perspective, you have some ult advantages going into this fight, but it's still just not enough. And the way they started that, how greedily they began the fight, was so easily collapsed on and punished.
Yeah, and do you remember last game? It's like, okay, they got the Rift Herald. We have to commit into this. And then in this game, they're like, we're behind. We have to commit to getting this Rift Herald. Leo wasn't even level 6.
Yeah.
But Hens was level 4. Duck Dom's level 6 himself. He sets up a giant Moonlight Vigil. I mean, you're playing straight into their hands. It's just not the play. And you can understand the desperation at this point in the series, but it is going to be key in terms of giving Nongshim yet again another gigantic lead.
I want to see Peanut's gold in this game. He hasn't been back for a while. We'll see what he ends up purchasing. He's just looking for more on the bottom side, by the way. If Kellen threads a needle on another death sentence, with the vision advantage they have.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where Leo might not even be able to sit under turret. We're not quite there yet, but it's that snowball. It's just gigantic.
And Rich does have Flash and Slicing Maelstrom, and he has vision, so good luck with this one. Dread, unfortunately, is not going to be able to make anything happen on the top side of the map. Look at the respect shown here from Rich. And you know what? With Prio mid, you can't stay too long, Dread. Here comes the crescendum damage on the turret.
Lahens has to back. Leo can't stay. We're getting turret plates. We're coming up to the top side. We're looking for plays here. Denies any kind of Rift Herald play just yet. Take a look at this. We're going to have 4 plates at 11.5 minutes into the pockets of Duck Dom.
This is what he does. And I know a lot of people were screaming at the draft screen, don't let him take Aphelios Thresh, and that's something you mentioned in the chat, or not in the chat, but if you were in the chat, you would have mentioned. You mentioned it on the.
I would have, I would have been that guy in the chat. I'm sure there's a guy in the chat right now saying exactly that. And okay, trying to get a play here on the Keen. You can see Keen and Dread are trying to get some pressure, get an ult down, and put down the Rift Herald, but it's looking a little bit flimsy. So far.
It's been shut down every time. Peanut didn't get a kill this time around. Rich did use a Slicing Maelstrom, so a small advantage was gained, but the pressure that you're dealing with in mid and bottom means that it's very amazing, actually. In fact, I wouldn't even say good for Nongshim to be able to commit so few resources to shut down a Rift Herald drop while also getting value elsewhere for the cost of one Slicing Maelstrom.
Well, Rich, no.
Nice dodge.
Yeah, it's dodged and they're still there. So Rich actually will get caught out by this. And patience pays off, as the Rift Herald had about 10 seconds, maybe 5, until it had to be used. And so this is going to be pretty nice for Afrika now.
Really nice call here from Afrika. Waited out, and Rich doesn't have vision. Misses the shuriken. Not going to be able to get anything more than the initial plate charge, but it's so critical that they get that, in fact, at least.
Yeah.
And they are able to get a kill with it, too. So Keen gets a lot of extra power up here on the top side of the map, and that's one of their best win conditions in this game. They still have a lot of engage with the Renekton, right? The Scout of the Week. There's a lot of ways where they can win team fights later on.
Let's watch them dodge. 5-hit.
Yep, just step to the left, step to the right.
Yep. It's just like that song that I don't know the name of, but everybody plays it at parties.
Cha-cha now, y'all.
It's, yep, that's the song. And
Afrika's looking for a big reverse here in this series.
They don't quite have their dancing shoes on right now. And again, I mean, they're going to try to make a play here on the Gory. We'll see if it pays off. He's quite tanky, and he's got Peanut nearby. The teleport here as well, as the spear going to hit him. And Duckdom, he's going to have Kellen on the bot side, actually, behind them. Who's flanking who is the question, as now 2 teleports will come down. And Kellen will pick up the kill amongst all of the teleports used on the side of Afrika. At least they finally kill the killless Aphelios.
And we're still going with the Cha-Cha reference. This is 2 hops this time, though, Valdez. You end up getting the double down there. You get Kellen's flash, Duckdom's flash, and Cleanse. 4 summoners, 2 kills here for Afrika. Now you're looking for Gory.
All right, let's see what he can do here. I mean, Gory...
He's set,
I
don't know.
So, I mean, at the end of the day...
No one's coming, though.
No showstopper, yeah. It's just a straight-up 1v1. You don't see that all the time. And Dread will just take these Raptors. Gory doesn't seem to care.
So even though they end up getting all the summoners bottom and 2 kills, Nongshim still take the Drake. And it is going to be our first non-big Drake, if you want to go that way. Oh,
oh man.
Force of Will super strong here. But
Feels good.
You know, this is still a big Drake advantage for Nongshim right now. Maybe need to calm down a little bit in terms of where they're positioning on the map and not overextend here as we watch this. Duckdom just wants to get the whole turret. And yes, he has Cleanse, so he feels pretty good. Okay, I could dodge the Solar Flare, but then the Zenith Blade hits. And yeah, it's a really cool exchange here, and Duckdom looks like a hero trying to pull this off, and they do kill Leo, but you still die.
If the Moonlight Vigil hit, it would have been 2v1 against Lehens, and maybe they could have backed towards Peanut, and I think they would have survived.
Yep. Does miss, though.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, really nice play. I mean, Duckdom had Shield Bow, so he's able to survive through all the damage from the Syndra.
Well, that's the other thing is, even though he dies, there's a lot more catching up that Afrika is going to need to do there on the bottom side of the map. He's still extremely fed. He still just goes, oopsie, okay, anyways, I'll still kill the bottom turret, and we're still going to get Drake. So, it was very cool of you guys to get the double kill there. It's going to be one for Kellen's highlight reel as he picks up his 2nd kill of the game, but yeah, not a whole lot Afrika can do just yet with that advantage, unfortunately.
Yeah, you take a look at the goal difference graph. It's like, okay, well, we had a little bit of a whoopsie. It's like, what happened there at 14 minutes? Well, we don't need to talk about that because if they keep this up, the graph will only go down from here. And,
Rich.
Yeah.
He and Peanut are both in a position to where they are going to really well and truly come online for this next fight, which will be soul point for them. Fly dodges yet another. We're not really seeing too many heads bonk together here for Gory, unfortunately, so far. Just missed a few of those, but the big fight that Nongshim have coming here is going to be, they have such a big power spike right now that Afrika do not have. Like, Leo doesn't have his Mythic yet, unfortunately, in this game. So, in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, he'll likely end up finishing that, but if Nongshim does get Soul Point, there's so much they can do with this composition. The only thing that's missing for them really is a strong split pusher, and they are going to have to deal with King. Uh-oh. Okay, that was a...
What? Whew. What was that?
Spooky moment there for a second.
He's really asserting his dominance there in the bush. Like, you don't need to do that. He just jumped right into them.
It's actually
not a care in the world.
made me quite fearful, but Keen is doing a lot side laning wise. That's what Viego can do.
Yeah. It feels like such a meme, but actually it's one of those plays where Afrika see that and they're like, "Whoa, are we like in the wrong position? Do we have to back?" Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if we can play, if we can actually fight this. Peanut's too confident.
That's the Artosis moment where you know your opponent did something so wrong that you're really actually terrified.
Oh man,
we gotta get the StarCraft references in as much as we can, but yeah, I mean this is the one thing that Afrika have going for them right now is Keen's split pushing power, right? And that and the fact that Nongshim did overextend and gave a little bit of extra gold over through the beginning of the mid game. And Keen is becoming a real force to be reckoned with. And soon Leo will get his first item and will actually be able to do damage in team fights and set up for big scatter of the weeks.
이렇게 해서 와쳐! 야 랜턴! 야, 너 뭐야? 아, 빼.
He was like, whoa, what's that? Oh, back. He was like, whoa, what's that? Out.
yeah, it worked.
Whereas Peanut's literally over there making a watch out sound effects as he goes to check the bush. And they're like, whoa!
It actually worked.
Oh, that was actually really cool to get the comms.
It's got to be alpha, man. We figured it out. This is all you got to do. You just jump into the bush.
As long as you say watch out, it's always going to work out.
This is why Peanut won regular season MVP.
Yeah.
Plays like that.
There you go.
Setting up the big ones.
Okay, Fly, this is quite dangerous, in fact, playing with this without any vision there. But they do have Keen nearby. So this is actually pretty calculated. If somebody rotates down into Keen, could be disaster, speaking of which.
There's a lot of vision control here for Afrika.
Yeah, it was actually pretty calculated to trade like that as Fly.
Is Lance just going to die? I mean,
almost.
Below his stopwatch, and yeah. I feel like Peanut could have gotten closer, maybe landed that one, but maybe not quite in range, as now they're going to find Keen, and now who's catching who? Keen has to flash away. And that might be all that Nongshim needed to just take another Cloud Drake
Yeah, they
down.
don't need to fight, actually, as it turns out, anymore. Could just go ahead and take this Drake. It's going to be sole point. They could control the vision here.
Still getting in there. They're denying backs. They're making this so difficult for Afrika to even live on this rift right now.
Fly did back, so they should have enough control here now once Gory finishes clearing that wave to group up and take it. Don't know what weapon Duckdom has right now. It's not the greatest, but yeah, it is going to be a Gravitum, which will do a lot of single target damage there, and Peanut can come and finish it off. Keen is getting a big push done here on the top side of the map, but Rich will be able to stop him from getting anything else. We'll catch the wave. It's scary for Afrika that this is heroic.
Flash here for Keen, and he's going to land the death sentence. As you can see, he's trying to turn it around now, but the stuns are coming out. The damage is there. Nice sustain. And now you see that Peanut is caught out, this time for real. As in comes Duckdom. He's going to root down 3 people. Why did they give him Aphelios again? As now, on the chase, Lehens is caught out all alone. Keen's just going to leave him to die. And Afrika were trying to make an aggressive maneuver in the enemy jungle. Yeah, I'll just hand that kill over to Peanut. That's fine. As he has been so survivable in this game. And now they can just turn their sights onto the Baron.
This is really crazy. Okay, they're going to try to get some information here. I don't think they can do anything about it, though. They're just staying watching as this Baron goes down. They're able to check this, but they can't steal it. And Nongshim are just going to get away with this. Everybody's grouped. This is how you do it. If you end up being grouped on the top side of the map and you have an advantage, you could take the Baron. South Africa try it when they were behind. When you're this far ahead as Nongshim and have this much control, you could take it. The only trade-off is you're going to lose a little bit of pressure on 2 sides. So this is a great play from Kellen and a great call. He ends up hitting the flay here and then gets the death sentence. Rich is here for the follow-up stun. And everybody else is coming up. Now, it's a great flash from Peanut when Lehens does end up chaining the stun together here. If he doesn't have flash, then he dies, and this looks very different. And then Duckdom says, what's up? I'm over the wall. Triple Gravitum, triple roots. And Duckdom has been so good at flashing aggressively and actually using Aphelios as an initiation champion sometimes. Not the first time he's flashed forward for a play like this with Gravitum this game. And our best Aphelios players here in the LCK will do this. And Duckdom says, let's go, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why this guy was voted by the majority, I believe, as the best AD carry in the LCK currently. Like, it's not just his Aphelios, but this is the one thing that's kind of egregious, right?
It's been a constant
Probably
for him.
shouldn't have seen this.
His whole career, not just this season, not just in spring. You have to respect it. And Afrika did not because they wanted to try to make this Syndra bot play.
Yeah, they took a calculated risk. It didn't turn out well. We definitely could have seen this, work out maybe 1 out of 10 times.
That's what you got to do in a best of 5, though. Sometimes, is as you mentioned.
Yeah.
If you just keep playing the same style, when you're behind, you're bound to lose.
He's only 3,500 gold ahead at 23 minutes.
Yeah, look at.
All right, here we go. Teleports are in, but immediately.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah. Well. Nice try, guys. I like the.
Good hustle.
Yeah, I like the fire. I like your willingness to fight, but actually, in the end, they will just back away. It was a perfect lantern. Perfect response comes through from Nongshim.
Baron's up.
Okay, maybe can they kill Peanut? They will. They'll finally get Peanut, and at least they will do that.
Baron's up, though. I mean, this is a huge trade-off.
Here we go. Rich just going to clean it up, and Nongshim trying to book their ticket to the next round of playoffs here.
You can't make a play like that when Baron's up. I don't care how desperate you are. I don't care how much you want to try to make a desperate play where you feel like this is the only chance we've got in this game. You've got to play this more defensively because if you mess it up, and it's so hard to pull it off, you just end up losing so much. They lose 1 inhibitor from this. They're at least able to get the kills onto Peanut and Rich, but this is guarantees inhibitor. When the Baron buff was so close to wearing off, you could play this a lot more passively. Look at the Scare of the Week, do almost nothing. And that's the cue for Keen to go in, but there's a Lantern there, and Fly's trapped.
Yeah.
And Fly's like, okay, I want to go in, but actually, no, he shouldn't be. He feels like he's opportunity costed, or rather, sunk cost fallacy, as we've been talking about in this series, into going in, and it's just not the correct play. And Leo just barely dodges the Haymaker, and it's still not enough to keep him alive. This is such a high-risk situation where you didn't have to make this play. Sit behind your turret, wait it out. I mean, this is a lose-lose game for Afrika.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you guys. But I think the cost of messing this up is just so high.
It definitely accelerates things, right? Because you can sit there with your Syndra, you can try desperately to clear waves, and you can probably buy yourself an extra 30 minutes, or 30 seconds rather, and you would also hold on to your teleport, right? So that's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah.
You were almost definitely going to lose that inhibitor anyway, but you can see the result of what happens if you try to force things.
We've seen so many champions that can flank behind, like what we saw there from Fly. You know, we've seen Scion flanks like that actually change games completely. We've seen Kennen flanks like that change games completely. But Renekton disconnected from his team that much so alone, it's just really, there's not much you're going to be able to accomplish there. When they saw the Scare of the Week not even dent Gory's health bar, I think that might have been the cue to maybe just sit back and defend.
To go back in time and cancel the teleport before the change.
Cancel the Syndra bot pick?
Well,
it's rough. Yeah. This was such a risky draft in the way that Nongshim dominated the bottom lane so well. Just shows that they prepared for this. Every team knows about the potential Syndra flex to bottom because we've seen it so much. First in other regions, then here in the LCK, Ghost played it. And now it's a thing that you know about, you can prepare for. And when you have a Aphelios Thresh, you can put the pressure on with Peanut there. And that's the other crazy thing about this. I was going to mention it in draft, but Peanut usually doesn't spend resources bottom for Duck Dom this season. That's not really how he plays. He just farms and looks for opportunities, but he played extremely aggressive to shut down the Syndra. It works. It pays off. They have a huge lead in the early game, and they're just pushing that advantage towards the end here.
Yeah.
This game was won before, not now.
The one champion on the side of Afrika that can threaten the range of Aphelios and Nidalee is Syndra. But the Syndra doesn't exist. It's just a figment of all of our imaginations in this game because she's so far behind. I mean, she got her Ludens like 20 minutes into the game. She's not really able to do much. She can't threaten much. There's not going to be any follow-up from Afrika because they are in this position. And everybody else is melee against Aphelios. So, like, as you mentioned, it was a huge risk. I feel like it was like their plan D. Like, they went for plan A, it worked out once, it failed, and then they, like, skipped plan B and C, and then they went to plan D. They were like, okay, it's a best of 5. This is our last chance. Nongshim are on match point. Let's give it a shot. And unfortunately, this time, And Nongshim kind of laughed at it and shut it down immediately.
Yeah, I really, if I could go back in time to one moment, it would have been banning the Aphelios to the Jace. That's the one thing I think if I went back and changed, like, our timeline would look very different, right? I think that was the moment where you could have, you know, hedged your bets a lot better. This game is well and truly under the control of Nongshim, as they're just going to walk over to Baron.
All right.
Slight vision advantage,
Let's see
teleport.
it. And Nongshim, they're such a respectful team, such a responsible team almost, that they're not going to take that risk. They say, okay, you teleported in, we can just fight you. Like, we don't need to flip it over that Baron. No need to do that. Gory's just going to 1v2 for the majority of this. Peanut comes in. Duck Dom going to get caught out a little bit, but he has Cleanse. And so he will just be able to come on in. Rich will get rooted down by Lehens, but Peanut is on the chase, and it's so hard to get away from this Nidalee. As the flash on in from Kellen, just to make sure 2 more will go down on the backside of this. As Keen, he's the one guy who has any kind of autonomy in this game, but even he can't do anything.
This is really rough to be Leo in this game. I wouldn't want to be him right now. I mean, so much of this game rides on him in the draft, right? Where you're like, okay, yeah, I could do it. Put me forward. I will play the Syndra. We will pull this off. Down against match point, very new player, you know, doesn't have a ton of experience under his belt. And they put him in this position, and I don't want to say he failed. I wouldn't say that. I would say that Nongshim just outplayed him super hard. And Peanut surfed around the bottom lane. They got such a huge advantage that this pick didn't work out. And I wouldn't blame him if he gets emotional after this loss, because in some ways you feel responsible when you're the guy who's trying to carry everything in this very unusual draft. But I really don't think it was his issue. I think it was just really strong outplays on the side of Nongshim. As Gory, remember, he went 2-0-4 in like the first 12 minutes of the game.
He also, as Atlas would very much point out, he bought a Bramble Vest against Viego and Renekton.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. That's the answer. Their AP comes from basically only Syndra. Yes,
she's an AD carry.
Some. Yeah, Sejuani has some, but like the Bramble Vest immediately makes Set almost unkillable after the Syndra falls behind. And of course, it's not only that item, but from that, starting from that and getting fed, you're never killing Set. I don't care if it's 1v2.
Yeah. 1v3 even, he's probably still going to be in a pretty good spot when the rest of his team is going to show up at a moment's notice because they have so much map control right now. It's absurd.
Look at the gold difference at 30. That's not a number you see very often. This is a playoff match as well. Afrika came out so strong tonight.
They really did. I mean, they looked to be, after game 1.5, after half of game 2, looked like we might be seeing a huge upset. They couldn't stick the landing, and that's been the story of Afrika, unfortunately, this year. This is the push to end from Nongshim. If they get any picks here, it's over.
Okay, they get the stun chain onto the Set, but that just sets up Rich to jump on in and get a big slicing maelstrom. The follow-up suplex is big, and nobody on the side of Afrika has any items that can do damage to this team at this point in time. They have the Baron, they're pushing in all the waves, teleport in, and Nongshim are looking to take this first playoff series.
Fly is dead. He's taking a sip of water. This is Nongshim pushing to end.
I think they will. They're trying to get on top. That's a really nice scout of the week, but 0 follow-up comes in. Everybody else was taken down, and that's going to be the end of Afrika here in summer. And for the year, Nongshim will move on to the next round.